This podcast will introduce and discuss metacognition. What the podcast will focus on is prior knowledge of the students, evidence-based studies on metacognition, how we know what we know on the subject, teaching strategies to improve as a teacher, learning strategies in order for students to implement, a representation of Bloom's taxonomy pyramid and where metacognition lies upon it, questions that define metacognition and its learning aims. Can anyone here tell me what they understand by the term metacognition?
Is it something to do about thinking it, or?
Hi, sir, I think it's something to do with our knowledge.
Alright lads, well you are both correct. Metacognition is thinking about thinking in its simplest terms. Over the rest of this class you will come to understand the deeper meaning of metacognition and how it can help you understand your learning. Firstly, can I draw your attention to the learning outcomes which will be covered in today's lesson. By the end of class, students will be able to identify the two main components of metacognition. These components are metacognitive knowledge and self-regulation. Students will demonstrate their understanding of the four factors that influence metacognition. Students will be divided into four groups. Each group will take a factor that makes up the cognitive side of metacognition. At the end of the lesson, the groups will present their findings to the whole class. Okay class, here's one for you now. How can we truly think about our own thinking when the brain that is doing the thinking is also the thing that is being thought about?
Sir, can you explain that for me, just in a little more detail?
Rob, were you not listening?
I was, miss. Sorry, sir. I just can't make out this bit clearly.
Okay, no problem. It is broken down into four different types that we will look in detail a little later on. It is how we gain knowledge of how I am teaching you here today in this classroom, how I can make it possible for you to learn. Do I stand up here and talk for the entire class, or do I ask questions or integrate groups? We will firstly look at the two principal components that make up metacognition: metacognitive knowledge and self-regulation. Students, what words come to mind when you hear the term metacognitive knowledge?
Thinking, sir.
Learning, sir?
What about reinforcing?
Hold on guys. Metacognitive knowledge is thinking about thinking, a notion that disguises much more complicated concepts. Can anyone tell me what self-regulation means?
Is it being able to work on your own?
Fantastic. Cognitive strategies are mental plans that help the student to self-regulate. It refers to theoretical and applied orientations that share three underlying assumptions. An individual's behaviour is mediated by cognitive events. Change in mediating events results in change in behaviour. The individual is an active participant in his or her learning. The term strategies will arise during our learning today. Strategies are ways in how we can apply metacognition to improve our teaching and learning to ensure all your needs are met. We will now look at the factors that play a constructive role in influencing learners and how they learn. These principles are intended to apply to all learners, from children to teachers, to parents and to community members involved in the educational system. Can someone identify any of the four factors that influence metacognition? Peter, can you identify any of the methods associated that influence metacognition?
Is motivation a factor of metacognition, sir?
Can you explain a little more?
Well, is it the importance of students to be motivated in a class so they learn? Having the students motivated in a subject they like will help the student learn better.
Yes, that is a very good attempt. Well done, Peter. Okay guys, I want you to quickly get into the same groups that we were in last week. The first factor that will be discussed is motivation and emotional factors. Group 1. Analyse the factor and you can present information at the end of class. Can anyone tell me what the other factors could be?
Individual strengths of students?
Good man, Rob. The individual differences in learning is a second factor that influences metacognition. Group 2, please work on this factor for me. Any other factors that may be important to metacognition?
What about social factors or even cognitive factors?
Well done, Edel. Can you explain more about how social factors influence metacognition?
Maybe how the students react to one another?
Correct. Can Group 3 please investigate development and social factors? And finally, Robert, what did you mean by cognitive factors?
How students think. Maybe it is higher or lower order.
Well done. Group 4, please discuss cognitive and metacognitive factors. Well done. Great effort from all four groups. Overall learning can be enhanced when the learner or you guys has an opportunity to interact and to collaborate with peers on instructional tasks, like what we do in class such as today. Learning settings that allow for social interactions and that encourage diversity, encourage flexible thinking and social confidence. Quality personal relationships that provide stability, trust and caring can increase learners' sense of belonging, self-respect, self-acceptance and provide a positive climate for learning. Peter, what did you discover about cognitive and metacognitive factors?
Sure, I discovered that learning of complex subject matter is most effective when it is meaningful to the student and it has a real application to what they are doing. The best way to explain is when it relates to their general knowledge, sir. So I think over time and with support and instructional guidance can create meaningful, coherent representations of knowledge. I feel we must generate and pursue personal relevant.
Peter, very good. I think we should definitely swap roles. Robert, does construction of knowledge have a role to play here?
Yeah, it does. A successful learner can link new information with existing knowledge in meaningful ways. Knowledge widens and deepens as students continue to build links between new information and experiences and their existing knowledge base.
Well done, Robert. It is important to note that the nature of these links can take a variety of forms, such as adding to, modifying or reorganising existing knowledge or skills. How these links are made or developed may vary in different subject areas and among students with varying talents, interests and abilities. Edel, what was that you had?
The group feels strategic thinking has also a role to play.
Good woman. The successful learner can create and use a repertoire of thinking and reasoning strategies to achieve complex learning goals. Successful learners use strategic thinking in their approach to learning, reasoning, problem solving and concept learning. They understand and can use a variety of strategies to help them reach learning and performance goals and apply their knowledge in new situations. To revisit our learning outcomes that we set out from the start of class, by the end of class, students will be able to identify the two main components of metacognition. Have we covered it? What are they? Robert?
Metacognitive knowledge and self-regulation.
Well done. Have you shown the class a demonstration of understanding of the four factors that influence metacognition? Peter?
Yeah, we have, sir. They are motivational, cognitive, social and individual differences of learning, sir.
And lastly, at the end of class of the lesson, the groups will present their findings to the whole class. Has each group presented its findings? And as the teacher of the class, overlooking and overseeing what groups have contributed to today's lesson, I can confirm that. I'd like to thank you all, and I'll see you next week, guys.
Created using Upton.